Hello, this is Jeannie Shear, Aquatic Invasive Species Outreach Specialist for UW-Madison's Division of Extension Natural Resources Institute. Welcome to this edition of Trainings in Small Bites. Today, we're going to go over how we use our UW Box file sharing account for Wisconsin's AIS program. I'll be using AIS, the acronym for Aquatic Invasive Species, and LMPN for the Lakes Monitoring and Protection Network. Also, when we first started the LMPN, we went back and forth on when to refer to the Wisconsin AIS Partnership versus LMPN when sending emails, titling meetings, and file names, etc. Since LMPN is part of the overall partnership that includes county partners who are funded by the LMPN grants, county partners who may not be using the funding, DNR staff, and both Madison Extension and UW-Stevens Point Extension Lakes, it's most inclusive to refer to the Wisconsin AIS Partnership. But be aware, you'll see the two combined in various ways when we talk about our group and partnerships. So we've used the box since about 2014. It's similar to Google Docs, but looks more like files on a computer. It's not quite as user-friendly for editing because you can't see others working in a document at the same time, and it isn't quite as quick to save changes. So if you're in a folder where you have editing privileges, I try to remind people of that. Box is easy for file storage though, and I find it easier to navigate than the Google files I use. Once you sign into Box through the UW-Madison Box page, you will see Wisconsin AIS Partnership's main folder listed. If you haven't used UW Box account for anything else, it'll be the only folder. I do occasionally start up new folders, primarily working folders to share with a work group, but otherwise it's usually only people who happen to have gone to school or worked at UW-Madison who have additional folders visible upon sign in. So once you click on the Wisconsin AIS Partnership folder after signing in, you'll get to this page. And once you see the full list of folders, they probably won't be in order the first time you open Box. But it's easy to put the files in alphabetical order by clicking on name at the top of the folders listed. You may have to click a second time if it comes up in reverse order. There's lots of good information in the folders, which I cleaned up in December 2020. Not that they're perfect. There will always be things evolving and information to be updated on the many topics listed. Folders are included for all of our main programming, but also include partnership meeting presentations, species presentations, a large photo library, and more. You can explore all of those, but today we're going to focus on AIS LMPN Toolbox. So once you click on the AIS LMPN Toolbox folder, you'll end up here. We're going to talk about the ACE Start Here folder and the Who's Who folder today. Again, you might have to click name a couple of times to get the list in alphabetical order, which is the easiest way to find things and why I named the first file a Start Here folder instead of Start Here. Inside the Start Here folder, you have lots of basic information to help people get started and reminder for those who've been around a while. To help you figure out where things are, start with Intro and Contents. This is just the portion of the contents document for the Start Here folder. The full contents document lists the other files and their contents in the toolbox. Only the Start Here folder is numbered like this, which helped with my organizing it, so I left it that way. Important documents for those starting out are 1.1 Key Contacts and 2.1 Getting Set Up in SWMS. The one listed 1.3 calendar is general, and I hope to keep it updated with actual dates as we know them, but it's mainly just a big picture we expect from year to year. Now we're going to pop into the Basics folder. The V numbers that show up at the end of the titles just indicate how many times the document's been updated. V equals version. So I clicked on and opened the Key Contacts page to give you a look. All of the links work to take you to locations within Box or to external pages. You'll find throughout the toolbox that if I mention something is in another file or direct people to a particular document, I will hyperlink to it. If you ever notice a spot where I didn't and it could be helpful, let me know and I'll do the editing for that. Helpfully, if you do click a link, you can always move back and forth using the back and forward arrows for the web page or the file path that is shown at the top of the box window. To save a document, just click on the download button and follow the steps. You may not see the open option unless it's a file where you have editing privileges. I always open items that I want to edit in Word or Excel using the online version, which is one of the options shown if you click the open button. I don't like the PowerPoint online version, so I tend to work with my computer's PowerPoint and upload new ones. The item circled is the link to the DNR webpage where you can find contact information for all the other AIS coordinators, it's DNR and partners, and other helpful staff. It's a great link to bookmark. It's updated every time we find out a new person is filling the roles of one of the jobs covered. If you're a new coordinator and not listed yet, email dnrswims@wisconsin.gov to get that updated. But generally, this is done when we set new people up in SWIMS. To keep the contacts page clear, we only list one county AIS contact per county. If there happens to be two, the person listed will funnel calls to the others as needed. The exception to this is if we also have a tribal contact for a county, they will also be listed on the page. All right, so now we're going to go back and check out the who's who and what do they do folder. Here we have 4 main folders and some more general information about the partners from before the LMPN kicked off. The map is where we have current LMPN grant funded partners, and it will be updated each year as the new LMPN grant period rolls out. The folders, as you can see, are one for the county partners, one for our regional DNR AIS coordinators, one for our statewide staff, and one for tribal partners. In the AIS LMPN coordinators folder, partners are set up by county. So as coordinators for as coordinator for Ashland County, Scott Caven has editing privileges and added a photo and Word document so we can learn more about him and his organization. Golden Sands RC&D LMPN coordinators each have folders named with the counties each of their coordinators covered. If you have a technician, LTE, or other staff who are integral to your project, feel free to add something about them in your folder too. Just try to remember to update the information if they move on. Regional support people are the DNR AIS regional coordinators who are your main points of contact for all things AIS in your region. Their folders have their name and region. Since I initially put this presentation together, I've added a subfolder to this one called Our Other Great DNR AIS Staff, where people like the LTEs who work hand in hand with partners and the regional AIS coordinator can put their own photo and bio. Statewide people like me, Extension Lakes folks, and DNR Central Office folks have folders with their names and programs. And we have several tribal partners, and I'd like to get their folders set up more. So tribal partners, please feel free to contact me when you have a chance. At this time, there are just a couple of presentations in the folder from our partners at Gliffwick. As new people come in, I will give them editing privileges to manage their folder. As people leave, I'll rename and reassign the folders. So we have a lot of support from outside the box too for our partnership. Our listserv is active with around 130 people on it. If you are registered on our G Groups listserv and you haven't seen a email, at least 1 to 3 per week, check your spam. If you still haven't seen anything, let me know so I can make sure you've been added. Twice a year, we have a statewide meeting of the AIS partnership. We traditionally include our partners working on terrestrial species during the spring meeting. There are also train the trainers for various programs for that LMPN staff manage, and of course the Library of the Small Bites training, which we'll have new topics added as we strive to meet more training needs. In spring, you can also expect SWIMS training and AIS monitoring training from the staff that specialize in those areas. So if you have any questions or would like to set up a Zoom to walk through Box further, please contact me and I'll be happy to help. Thanks for joining me for this Small Bites training.